Hey YouTube. I wanted to record another video about my first semester of dental school and try to make it like a quick one. We'll see how this goes. I'm sitting on the ground because I forgot to bring my chair into the room. This is unscripted, so I'm just gonna kind of go off the top of my head about like an overview and overlook of what my first semester was. So it's kind of raw and real. What's been preventing me from posting videos has been the fact that yes, dental school is busy, but the main thing is that I wanted to edit my videos and those just took a lot of time. And I think I might go back to just sitting and talking, recording video, sitting and just talking to the camera instead of like recording, editing, and doing all of that, because that's kind of what my channel started off as and what the first video I've ever made blew up. But I wanted to have like a higher quality of video for everybody, which is kind of what like stops me from posting, but then I stop posting. So I'm just going to talk, not have a script, nothing, no bullet points in mind, just ramble. About how my first semester of dental school went. I apologize, and I think I've apologized for this a lot. I'm sleep deprived, and that's how a lot of my videos end up. I started my spring semester already, and I'll talk about that I guess a bit. But I was talking to my dad before this, like right after the semester ended, and we were comparing experiences in dental school, and turns out we have a very similar experience and expectations for dental school. So the expectations that I had going in, and keep in mind, like, I tried not to have expectations for dental school, but you still have like somewhat expectations, even when you're keeping in mind that the reality of dental school is not necessarily going to be meet your expectations. So I would say that I expected dental school to be so difficult, because I knew that during our first semester we take 13 classes, which is 23 units, and I was expecting like, oh man, I couldn't even do 15 units in undergrad. I don't think I've ever taken 15 units, to be honest. I registered for 15 and then ended up dropping classes, so I think the most I've taken was like 12. And there's times where I, failed classes, even just taking 12. So, oh man, I was scared for dental school. I assumed that because of the workload that I'd be doing nothing but studying and I wouldn't have time for anything else. And, I assumed that maybe I would get burnt out after a while. I also assumed that I would make a ton of friends because the way that it was headed, at least going into it, I knew a ton of people. I ran the social media for a class. I was, planning a lot of things with students, and I started to get to know a lot of our class. So I had expectations that I would make a ton of friends. I had expectations that the dental school would be super supportive of their students and stuff, which I'm going to be a little vague on that because I shouldn't be talking too much about the school administration. But there's just some differences that I was not expecting as well, that I just didn't even know that they would be a thing. Like, okay, so I started off, orientation week, and I was so excited to be there. I was so in awe. Like every minute I would be like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm in dental school. And like, I can't believe I'm in the classes. It was like, it was the dream that you always expected to be. You're wearing your scrubs, everyone around you is excited too. You're getting your first ID, where it says dental student. You feel so official going in there, and you're like learning about, basic dental stuff for the first time. So it's like, wow, this is not like undergrad. And then everybody's just super excited to meet everybody and be friends and socialize. And there's a lot of like parties and stuff at the beginning, or like get-togethers, And it was just like, there was just this like excitement at the beginning of the semester. And I feel like that would, that's probably a normal like a normal dental student's experience. But I ended up getting COVID and I missed the first 2 weeks of classes. Here, hold on. So I guess I'm doing a little bit of editing with this video because I had to stop, so I'm gonna have to stitch these videos together. Anyway, so I got COVID at the beginning of this semester, right after orientation, like the Sunday before class, like our first class started. So I missed the first 2 weeks of class. Already, my dental school experience was not phasing up to what I was expecting it to be. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but like I'm sitting on the ground because I forgot my chair in the other room. So anyway, I missed the first 2 weeks of classes because I had COVID, and taking classes online was not fun. It wasn't a good experience because I was really trying to keep up with classes while I had COVID, and I was trying to still be like involved. So I, set up Zoom meetings with friends or like classmates and stuff to try to like still keep the friendships, keep the socialization happening, and I would study with them, because I couldn't be in class. I would call my friends and try to play video games and stuff, and just kind of like keep myself, just kind of keep the momentum. That's the word I'm looking, like that's the kind of phrase I'm looking for. But I was trying to keep the momentum, and I was just really, obviously I had COVID, so I was like really not doing the best. I ended up going to the hospital. That's a story for another time. But I ended up going to the hospital and staying there overnight. It was not good. COVID really did a number on me. And then by the time I went back to classes, everyone had already like gotten to know each other, and we already started lab, and I was already behind. And so my dental school semester didn't really start the way that I was hoping it would, that things just kind of happened like that. But I guess one thing that I wasn't prepared is that here at UMSOD, we have an exam every single week. I mean, every week. We have an exam every single week, even now. And we only got 1 week off of a break last semester. And we only get 1 week of a break off pretty much this semester, which is next week. Yeah, anyway. So the coursework and course load was a lot, but I still managed to take off a lot of time, and I slacked. I didn't expect myself to slack. Like, I expected myself to keep up with classes a lot more than I did, because I kept hearing that, oh, you need to keep up with classes to be able to pass dental school. Like, there's no way. And I wouldn't recommend doing what I did. No, I wouldn't recommend doing that at all, because it's kind of true. But I slacked a lot, and I would study, only like a couple days before the exam, or the like week leading up to the exam, but not that much. Like spending like maybe 3 or 4 days on studying for my exam instead of like giving myself more time. And I really fucked up doing that because I was struggling a lot more than I needed to. I was struggling a lot more than I should have been because I did that. Because of the workload, it was just, you can't keep up, like you can't go home and study the same material that you learned that day, just like you would hope. There's just not enough time for that. I started skipping classes to study for exams, and I did that a lot. I did that the last like 2 months of the semesters. Pretty much I never went to class, only for exams and only lab, like only the required classes that I had to be there. Just because every week you study for an exam, so every week I'd use the time that I would skip classes to just catch up on exams material, but then skipping class means that I fall behind, and then like it's a like continuous cycle like that. I wouldn't recommend doing that, but like I did what I had to do and I passed most of my classes. It's a little complicated. Like, I passed all my classes for last semester. There's classes that continue now into this semester, so you get a temporary grade now, but then you don't get the final grade until this semester. There's only one class that I failed for last semester, but I still have 2 exams left, and I have hopes that I'm gonna be okay. Like, I've been on the fence about a couple of classes last semester, but I still managed to pass them, which is a story of my life because I did that a lot in undergrad. I am hoping to make up for it this semester. I've changed a lot of my habits now. I say that, it's only the first week. Let's see how well it goes, but like, I have a good feeling that my habits are going to change because I saw how they affected me last semester. And I know what I'm going into now, as opposed to last semester, I didn't know. It was just this so unknown thing. I've been told by upperclassmen that, you know, wait till you finish D1 and then tell me you love dental school, that kind of thing. And I think it's complicated. Like, I am very grateful to be here. I will continuously say that. I'm so happy I'm in dental school, and I'm so happy that I'm doing okay. You know, in dental school, I'm getting through it. I'm going to become a dentist. Time is going so fast. But it's still a lot, and it still will burn you out. But, so when it came to workload, I was not expecting that in a way, but I ended up making a lot more time for other things as well. So like, I would take off a day a week, or like half a day at the most, or at the least. Like, I took off some time. You don't go home and then study. You go home, you take a break, you study. You know, I studied a lot actually, but like, sometimes I would procrastinate because I was so burnt out. Yeah, when you start burning out, like, even if you're sitting and studying, like, your mind is just tired and not focusing and not absorbing material. Like, I need to give myself more breaks this semester, and I'm planning on it. You know, I think the first month was like, whoa, this is overwhelming. And then the second month was like, oh shit, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. And then by the time I finished my second month, I was like, all right, the worst is over. I can make it through this. I only have a couple more months left, and we'll figure it out. And it's gonna be okay. Like, I made it this far. It's just the same thing till the end of the semester. There was this really one hell week in October, but once we were through that, I was like, okay, it's done. It's, I'm done with the worst of it. And then it just became a lot easier after that. And I think it's now just like, you learn you learn your study styles, you learn what to do, what not to do, and you also you get used to it. I think of it, I always compared it to going to the gym. If you first go to the gym and you do a little too much, then you're sore, and then it makes you feel like, oh shit, when next time you go to the gym, and then it's like you're going to the gym and your muscles are sore and you didn't really give yourself a break. But eventually, you start building up a tolerance, and then when you go to the gym, it's not like the same day. It's not like you don't experience the same thing as you did when the first day you go back to the gym. It's kind of like that, I would say. But some days at the gym, you work out a little too hard and you're sore, kind of like dental school. is that some weeks are a little harder than others, and then you're like burnt out, extra burnt out. I learned how to study a lot on being burnt out but still studying. At the very end, oh man, like November, December. Oh, wow, I'm just glad that they're done. And if I had to do it again, I could do it again. But because I know a lot of people, I remember hearing a lot of like, I don't think I could make it through dental school again. I would not repeat dental school again if I had to. If I had to, it's gonna be okay. I would do it. If I had to go through that first semester, then I would have to do it again, but I don't want to. Like, that's why I'm trying not to remediate. But yeah, and then the other thing was making friends. I didn't really make friends, and by the end of October, I was getting really tired with some of the people in my class and the school in general for the way that they were treating me. That's another story. If you really want to know about that, like, just message me on Instagram, because I don't think I'm legally able to say a lot of things about that, but I'll just say that the school treated me poorly. But I was getting really frustrated with the school, really frustrated with the students. The faculty were great, the professors are great, so I can't complain. There were some professors that, you have good professors, you have bad professors, but none of them were like, terrible, like not miserable or anything. Like, all the professors here are great, so can't complain about that. Like, they're great professors. All of them teach really well too. Like, you'll learn the material. None of the professors are bad enough that you're like, I don't know what to do, I have to self-study. Like, they're fine. Like, even if you just review the slides and you don't go to class, like, the slides are enough to the content to learn from, but I would not recommend skipping classes. Don't do like me. Yeah, I stopped going to class. I started avoiding people. I stopped going to class because of falling behind, but also because I was avoiding everybody. So I stopped like November and December. I just didn't go to class. I would go to lab late to avoid people, and like not super late, just like a couple minutes into class starting, because everyone would be in lab already. And then I would try to leave a couple minutes early and just avoid talking to people and just, beeline to home. And I stopped texting people back. I just cut everybody out. And it made it easier to keep dental school at dental school and have a life outside of dental school. Like, I could come home, I could play video games, I could take a break and read a book, watch a movie, like, you know what I mean? Like, I could have an actual break from dental school, instead of, sometimes it's like, you go to dental school and then you hang out with dental school friends outside, and it just feels like dental school all the time. And it just was nice to have a break from that. But it was also very isolating because I don't know anybody here. I'm not familiar with Baltimore. Like, I moved across the country and I only have one friend in this area, and she lives 3 hours away, so it's not even like close by. And it just became kind of difficult, especially because I don't go home for the holidays. So I'm just here with my fiance, and he doesn't know anybody here either, so it's kind of just like us together. Yeah, so it's just going to be very isolating doing that. But I've started to talk to the upperclassmen. The upperclassmen are cool as hell. And so if you don't get along with everybody in your class, it's okay. You don't have to have best friends. Like, my dad also had the expectation that because you always hear these, you make friends for life in dental school, but not everybody does. And I don't think that that's talked about enough. Like, not everybody makes friends for life. Also, if the people in your class are not people that you get along with, there's still, like, if you're D1, there's still 3 other years of upperclassmen that you can talk to. And I've started talking to upperclassmen a little bit more, and, it's made it a lot nicer. They're, been in dental school longer, so they have advice to give to you, and it's just sometimes it's a little easier. And it's you know, there's still so many other people that you can be friends with and talk to. But yeah, I'm glad the semester's over. Some classes were just really difficult to get through. There are filler classes in dental school, and take that with a grain of salt. There are easier classes than others. That doesn't mean they're easy. That just means they're easier, or they require less work. So yes, you're taking 13 classes, but not all 13 classes are the same amount of work. So there's some of my classes that I just did the bare minimum for, and some of our classes, luckily, like, they really eased us in. I think compared, I don't know if other dental schools are like this, I can only speak on my experience, but they kind of eased us in. So it didn't feel like, it can still feel like still overwhelming, but it felt like pretty reasonable to me for my expectations. But yeah, I think it was very reasonable. But yeah, what else was I gonna say? Loans took a while to come in, a lot longer than I was expecting. So if you're expecting loans to pay rent or to pay for any of the funds before dental school, do not expect that. You might not even get loans to pay the first or second month of rent in dental school, so just be prepared for that. You know, you might be quoted on these numbers and then get different loans, like different amounts of money, or take out more loans, or tuition is more expensive once you see all the things that are added to it. There's that. My scholarship, I made another video about my scholarship, but there was some stuff with my scholarship which I love. Amazing, 10 out of 10. I love my scholarship. It makes me feel so much less stressed than maybe some of my colleagues, just because I have that afterwards. I have that supporting me through school. It's just nice. But oh yeah, man, the first semester of dental school, we had like a week break, and we went back to classes. It's technically Friday. It's 2 in the morning, and I have class tomorrow. You can imagine where I'm at. So we had Monday off, but we went to class on Tuesday, and so we had like a week break, and we started back on classes on Tuesday and had an exam on Wednesday, and it was covering last semester stuff because some of the classes are full year-long classes. So we had an exam for operative dentistry the day after we got back, after a week break. And I'll just tell you, I didn't study at all during the break. I was so burnt out. I needed that break. I needed that break. I have absolutely zero regrets on taking every minute of that break and not studying until Monday. So I studied 2 days before the exam. But I still got an 82, so I'm not complaining. I'm really happy and honestly really grateful that I got that grade, because I don't know if I deserved it. But yeah, this semester is still beating me up because we're taking so much more this semester. We have off next week, but then we have an exam following week, and every day until the end. And then we do get a 3-month break before next year, so I will be a D2 after the semester, which is so wild because it just goes so fast. Yeah, but there's more to life than dental school. So I have been working on like life outside of dental school a lot more than I expected to. And I don't hate dental school. I just hate the way it's structured. And some, like, for example, some of the stuff that we learn in our first semester, and also probably this semester, you will never, ever, ever use it in your career. I promise you that. It just feels like undergrad. Like, you took biochemistry. How much of biochemistry are you gonna use in your career? Probably not. You don't need to know about the Krebs cycle, I promise you. So it just feels like you're taking more filler classes in undergrad again. And my dad confirms that you're never, I'm like, why do we need to know how to read an EKG? Why do we need to know about heart arrhythmias? I understand the applicability, but I'm not going to use that in my career. It would be nice to know how to use that to then like see it directly related to dentistry and what you need to keep in mind with, you know, drugs or procedures or anything, but they didn't do that. It's just teaching you it. You know what I mean? I'm sure they might build on it, but there's just some things that just, I promise you, you'll never use. I did not need to relearn the Krebs cycle for any reason. Yeah, I'm probably gonna need to learn it again for the boards too. That's a couple years down the line. Yeah, so I know I'm kind of rambling at this point, but I just wanted to share that with you guys. Thanks for just kind of following me in the journey of a sleep-deprived dental student and rambling about last semester. Because this semester, I hope to make changes. I hope to make good changes. I'm already doing so well, but I'm only in the first week. And I know how that went for my first week. It was, you have a lot of momentum, and then you slowly start to die off. And then you learn to live with, you're just tired and exhausted and burnt out by the end. And then you just learn how to study that way. Yeah, but this semester is so much more difficult than last semester. Just the amount of content and everything. We start anatomy lab and it's 7 units. I haven't even started it yet and I'm already scared. Okay, thanks for listening to me ramble. If you made it this far, I appreciate it. If you guys have any questions for me specifically about dental school, about my experience that I haven't already talked about, or just questions about the school or anything, honestly, pre-dental students make it worth going through dental school sometimes because they keep you centered on what it was like to be a pre-dental student and what it was like to be so excited and have all this motivation and everything. And it keeps you in mind, like keeps that in mind about where you started. So I love you guys so much. I love all the pre-dental students. I love you guys so much. And feel free to reach out. Like everybody who's ever reached out to me, and if you're here in the audience, you'll know that I try to message you guys back ASAP. I respond to every single message I get on Instagram, and you know, I even try to call people on the phone and just talk to them, or like show them around where I live, or like what the dental school is like and everything. So I promise I will try to spend as much time and give as much care to every single person who messages me, like I would my friends, my family, my patients, my future patients. And if you're watching this and think like, you know, you're afraid to reach out to me or anything like that, like I'm just another person, and you'll probably just realize that too. A lot of people just reach out to me saying, hey, I watched your YouTube video, I have questions about XYZ, this is my situation. And you don't even need to like message me that, like we're already friends if you've watched this video, like you are my friend. So don't feel bad about reaching out to me. I would love to be friends with you guys, every single one of you, because you guys will be dentists, you'll be suffering just like me. So best of luck, and to those who got into dental school right now and are watching this video, you know, for the coming semesters, when I'm a D2, I'll be able to talk about a lot more and give more advice. But congratulations on getting in if you're there. If you haven't taken the DAT yet, if you're at whatever point in the cycle, don't worry guys, you guys will get in, you guys will, it's just a matter of when. and don't let go of hope for getting into dental school. It might not be the most linear path. It might take you on a different road than you were ever expecting to go through, but you'll end up in the place that you need to be, that you want to be. Just kind of have hope for that. All right, guys, I'm gonna go study for shit that I put off. And thanks so much for sticking with me, everybody who's watching this, because it's, you know, I've been a little laggy with things, but either way, thanks for watching my journey of dental school. I appreciate you guys so much, like more than you ever know. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.